Hello, Jordan.
What's up, Michael?
Grinding.
You're grinding?
Yeah.
What are you grinding on?
Life.
Okay. You're in a hotel right now.
I'm in a hotel.
A famous hotel.
The hotel that Jordan and I have been staying at for years out in New Jersey when coaching Gary at various times throughout the year.
Yeah. It's like a middle of nowhere.
It's fallen off a little bit. It wasn't all bells and whistles to start with, and it's fallen off a little bit.
It's gotten even worse.
Brother. Well, this is a champagne problem, but my back from the bed last night is, I mean, I picked the hotel, so it's my own fault. But
yeah, but there aren't that many options in that area.
Yeah, there's not a ton. There's not a ton. And just realized this morning with, it being lit now, it was dark yesterday when I was here, that the room is basically infested with these little, they're like the mean version of ladybugs.
Stop.
Yeah. There's
Are you serious?
Here. Yeah.
Did you tell
what are they going to do?
Whoever's working?
I told you the story of when I arrived here yesterday.
Yeah. Oh my, are you going to tell that story?
Should I?
Yeah, dude. Of course. It's a good story.
I'll give the condensed version of it.
Don't condense it. We don't want that condensed milk. We want that full fat, high calorie milk. Let's go. Give the whole story.
Brother, condensed milk is high calorie, by the way. But
that's true.
I will give
that's
you,
very true.
I'll give you the full fat,
that's
full
true.
protein milk.
That was not a good analogy.
I arrived about in the threes yesterday, normal check-in time after a long day of travel, and went to check in. There was no one here. The woman at the front desk said she just rebooted her computer. If I could wait a few minutes, I was like, no problem. I sat down in the lobby, scrolled on Twitter, since I'm over 30 days not scrolling vertical videos.
Oh, wow.
Which is, I don't even know if it's worth it, by the way. That's another conversation we can talk about. 5-10 minutes go by, nothing. I kind of meander back over to the desk, see if we've made any progress. And long story short here, she goes to the other computer. Her login doesn't work. She gets her manager. Her manager is locked out of the computer. They go back to the original computer. They can't get into that computer. Almost a half hour has passed, and I'm in no real rush. But she's like, "Do you want me to? Here's what we'll do. We're going to look at the laundry report, look at which rooms have been cleaned, and." We're not going to be able to check you in and have you pay and everything, but we can at least get you a key card and let you get into your room. I said, that would be incredible. Thank you so much. And so she said, do you have a room preference or a floor preference? Nope. Okay, we're going to put you in 222. I said, that's perfect. Got my key card, went to room 222, put the key on the door, opened the door, and there were two naked people in bed.
Well, one of them was not in bed, though, right?
No, they both were.
Oh, they were both in bed. Okay,
yeah,
but one of them was not covered.
It was such a flash. Yes, all I saw was the backside of a naked lady. And I opened the door, saw it through the reflection of the mirror. First, I saw a boot on the ground.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what the heck? And then I look up and, literally in a split second. And then I see covers get thrown. I was like, I'm so sorry, not my room. Shut the door, get out of there, go back downstairs. I was like, 222 had two naked people in bed, so I'm going to need a different room.
What did she say when you said that?
Oh my gosh, I can't believe, she was very animated. I'm so sorry. And by then they had the computers up and running. And so she was able to.
This was after a long travel day.
Yeah, but made for a good story, right?
Dude, made a great story. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And what do you mean they're not scrolling vertical video isn't worth it? I feel like it's definitely worth it.
It's increased my amount of time on Twitter, which isn't good. My total.
So it's just a different social media.
A little bit. Total social media is way down, which is good. And I think I've probably been slightly more productive work-wise. There is a part of me that for the Personal Trainer Podcast Instagram page, I feel like monitoring that on my phone creates more total posting. And so that's incentivizing me to get back over there, go back to drill sergeant mode. And it's just fun. But yeah, over 30 days.
What's your time been like? What have you replaced it with? Obviously, maybe some work and maybe some Twitter, but like, where else is your time being spent now that it's not on vertical scroll?
I don't even know. I actually think primarily working a little bit more, probably more show/movie consumption from like an entertainment perspective. Yeah, time like before bed. If we were just going to be laying there scrolling, we might watch another half episode or an episode of something. Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to continue the experiment a little bit longer. What's up with you? You're also grinding.
Oh, I'm grinding, bro. The whole house is sick.
Yeah, I heard it in your voice a little, although.
Yeah, I'm a little sick, but my girls have had it bad, like RSV, the flu, croup, everything. My wife literally like almost passed out the other day, throwing up like crazy. It's nuts. It's crazy in this house. I have it the least. And then the other night, my oldest daughter, she's been...
Wait, your wife was throwing up?
Yeah.
So flu?
They don't know. So it was a crazy, crazy week with a lot of doctor's visits and like back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Finally, my wife had a good idea. She was like, is there any way, like, is there like a mobile doctor? And I was like, that's a genius idea. I Googled mobile urgent care, and there's an urgent care mobile, a dude who's brand new. He has 5 reviews. They're all 5-star. I called him. I was like, bro, this is at like 10 o'clock at night the other night. I was like, do you do urgent care? He's like, yeah, I'm a new business. I was like, are you a real doctor? He was like, I'm an urgent care physician's assistant, like, and I'm starting this brand new thing where and he literally lives in the town that we're moving to in 2 days, which is great. But he comes here and he does literally urgent care for my wife, like literally, and he comes with a fucking car full of everything. He also has the first doses of whatever he could prescribe. So like, there's like a Zofran or something, which is like for nausea. And like he gave my wife the first dose of that and prescribed it for her as well, which was great. But like he did the nose swab and everything, and no, she didn't have the flu, but he thinks she had a different something. I don't know the technical term, something else. But yeah, she was throwing up like crazy and shivers and all that. And both my daughters have had that. And just, we were at the house yesterday. We were going through home orientation, and my infant like just is throwing up nonstop all over the entire house while they were trying to give us the tour. It was horrible. And then the other night, my oldest, she gets clingy when she's very independent. She's not clingy, but when she's sick, she gets clingy. So like she's been wanting me to like sleep in her crib while while she goes to sleep. So I go up there, like she's crying. She's like, Abba, 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 Abba. Like I can hear her on the monitor. So I go up there and I was like, hey, like what's going on? And she wasn't saying anything, but she was just crying a lot. And I was like, do you want me to come in? And I was like, and she was like, yeah, yeah. And so I get in, and immediately I feel like my pants getting wet through the leg of my pant. And then I smell, and she had thrown up all over her crib. And I did, like, we were downstairs. And she was sitting up and crying, Abba, 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 Abba. But she didn't say, like, I threw up. She didn't say that. She was just like, so I laid down in this massive pile of throw up. And I was like, oh, no, sweetie. And I turned the light on, and she's covered. The whole crib is covered. Her favorite stuffed animal's covered. And everything is just, and I'm covered in, and literally I was like, when you smell throw up, like this was like chunks, like, when you smell it, like you want to do it.
Yep.
Bro, I was so close to just projectiling it everywhere. It took every ounce of strength that I had to not just let loose. And I like take my whole body is covered. Everything is covered. So I take like this teeny tiny bit of my finger that's not covered and throw up, and I dial my wife, and I was like, I need you now. I was like, come up right now. And she comes up, and the lights are on, and it was really bad. So
what time was that?
It's around 10 probably.
Okay.
No. It was probably 9. So like 9 or 10 p.m. Yeah.
Man.
Yep. Yeah.
And so
it's
just
been crazy.
stripped the crib, got everything in the wash, changed her clothes.
Ordered her, because her favorite stuffed animal is this dog. And so we ordered new dogs from Amazon. Okay. Because like you can't wash it. It even says, it was like, don't wash this. So
yeah.
She'll
never know.
I gave her a different stuffed animal. She has another doll called Emily. It's so interesting how at least little girls, I would imagine little boys too, but at least like my little girls, they love dolls, and they like taking care of the dolls in the same way that we take care of them. Like she gives her milk, and she pats her back, and she changes her diapers, and like she just does all the stuff that we do to her. Mm-hmm. And so she called her Emily. I don't know. I literally have no idea why she started calling this doll Emily, but she named her Emily, and I don't know. We don't know anyone named Emily. We don't say it. Somehow she learned the name Emily, and so that's her name.
Nice.
And I was like, hey,
she's mimicking what you guys do to her.
Yeah. So we gave her Emily, and then she went to bed later. So
does she repeat things that you say?
Oh yeah, constantly.
Like, have you ever had a moment where you say something that you wouldn't want her repeating, and she repeats it?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Yep. I mean, even last night, the TV wasn't working, and I was like, what the heck? I said, what the heck? And then immediately she goes, what the heck?
That's funny.
But she says she mispronounces words. There are a few words she says that are really like, they're bad mispronunciations. So
yeah, she's
when
2.
She says, and I have, she's 2, but it's funny. But okay. Like, it's funny and bad. And like, if someone is outside, and like we're outside, so when it's dark, for some reason, when she said, and I got videos of this, I posted them on my story. People loved it. When it's dark out, she says dark. She says dyke. So she goes like dyke. So as we're walking, like it'll be dark out, and she'll like could be walking nearby someone, and she'll just start yelling dyke. And then the people will look, and we're like, no, she's saying it's dark out.
Yeah.
And then she says the word flag. There's a lot of like flags, like American flags and stuff around our neighborhood, and so we're going around, and she'll point at it, and she'll yell fag, because she like can't pronounce the L. And so that's another one where people, like, if people are outside and she starts yelling that, people are like, what in the world? And then for grapes, she calls them rapes. So she's like, rape, I want rape.
No, we don't.
It's like three like very harsh words.
Yeah.
But yeah,
of like pretty common
she'll
things.
repeat anything. Yeah, for very common things, exactly.
That's funny.
That was what I texted you the other night. I was like, remind me to tell you this story.
I figured. I have that on my list. Once you started, I was like, oh, this is it. Let's go. Yeah, kids getting sick and then the whole family getting sick seems pretty inevitable based on everything I've seen.
All the data. Spent a lot of time looking at that data.
No data. Just all the anecdotes I've heard. Zero data on that one, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, bro.
Nice, man. Are you excited for your move?
Yeah, I think we'll probably be able to afford the house for 1 or 2 months, and then we'll sell it and hopefully make a little bit of profit, and that's it.
That's not true. That's been Jordan's joke.
Might take a loss. We'll see. But we're excited. We're ready. It's not tomorrow, but the next day.
I'm going to come visit, and by the time this episode drops, it's going to be around the time I'm visiting to reshoot the Instagram growth guide. And potentially a little more too.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do so for the mentorship. When did we start the mentorship? 2018, 2019?
End of 2019.
End of 2019. So we started then, and we created many things. We have an entire like all these courses, blah blah blah.
Maybe it was the end of 2018.
I don't remember.
Anyway,
either way, one of the things we created was an Instagram growth guide. But so much has changed on Instagram since we first came out with it. So we're doing a complete update and reboot on that course. with a whole lot more in terms of strategies right now that are actually it's not just about getting more followers. Followers are not the biggest thing. I'm not going to say they don't matter, but what matters more is that you're actually connecting with your audience. Because if you think about it, like even if you quote unquote only have 500 followers or only 1,000 followers, like number one, and we've spoken about this before, imagine standing up and speaking in front of 500 or 1,000 people. Imagine having 500 or 1,000 people who wanted to work with you right now, right? It's like you don't need tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of followers to have a very successful business. It's more about how do you develop a really strong relationship with your audience? And so, yes, there will be aspects of how to grow your audience, but equally, if not more important, is how to make great content that sticks with your audience, develops a relationship with your audience, how to edit videos in today's like Instagram world, TikTok world, content creation generation, all that stuff. I'm excited about it. So when you visit, we'll be filming that.
I'm pumped to get a little warm weather too. See the new house, see the girls.
You're going to jump on the trampoline?
Yeah, I'll jump on the trampoline.
Get a lift in, maybe get some content filmed in the new gym.
Sweet. I'm in.
You can be like the first person to use the preacher curl station that I just haven't used at all since it was like such a waste of money for me to buy a preacher curl.
Why did you buy that?
It was I was buying so many things. Oh, you know what it was? I have this idea in my head that it would be really nice to have big arms.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just like I've never been about physique training. I've never like enjoyed it, but I chronically have this idea in my head that I would like to have bigger arms, and it would be nice to have like, like in the boron letters,
some guns.
Like, yeah, you just want some guns.
Yeah.
And I always have this, even when I go to a gym and I see they have like some nice bicep machines or whatever, I'm always like, oh yeah, like I'll do that. And like every time I do it, I just get bored. I'm just like, it's not fun for me. So when I was buying all this equipment, I must have been going through one of those emotions. Like it would be nice to have some real bicep equipment, just like, get a nice stretch, just do some, and, I was probably more of an impulse buy, and just haven't used it.
Maybe you will though. Maybe you'll go through that phase again.
Maybe my girls, as they get older, they'll be like, I want some sick biceps, and they're going to be using that preacher curl.
As far as bicep training goes, are preacher curls high up on your list of moves that either you enjoy, which we'd call it relatively enjoy compared to other bicep moves, or that you find are very effective for you compared to other bicep moves?
Definitely more enjoyable. The enjoyment comes from they provide a great amount of stability in this stretched position. Whereas so many of the other movements, it's hard to find a movement that provides more stability in that stretched position
and tension.
Yeah. So, that's why I really like it. It's just you get locked in that one position, and it helps with the technique, helps you isolate that bicep. So that definitely is one of my favorites for sure.
Nice.
What about you? You like the preacher curl?
I don't. Preacher curl has never felt good for me.
Yeah, you don't like it. You get worried about like tearing a bicep or something.
Yeah, it feels like I'm going to. It's like there are certain kinds of discomfort when strength training that are good, and then there are certain kinds of discomfort that alarm bells go off. Like, oh, something could go wrong here. And very rarely do I have much of the latter, but with heavy preacher curls, I do. And
have you ever seen or heard of anyone tearing their bicep doing a preacher curl?
Absolutely.
Oh, have you? Oh, wow.
Dude, I've seen a double bicep tear on a heavy preacher curl. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to put these ideas in your head, but
no,
yeah.
I don't care. I barely do it, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Was it super heavy?
I don't remember exactly. I mean,
okay. Yeah.
He was strong and big. So,
okay.
Yes.
Got it.
But for him, I don't know. I don't think he was doing like sets of 5. I think he was doing like a normal higher rep range bicep work.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Did he look like he might have been on drugs? Like steroids?
Might have been on drugs. Yeah, he was on some drugs.
I think that happens more frequently with people who are on steroids because the explanations that I've heard is that their muscular strength increases disproportionately in regard to tendon ligament strength.
Mm-hmm.
And so oftentimes like that, I've seen that with bench press pec tears. I've even seen it like very rarely with tricep stuff. But like I do think that stuff is probably more common with people who are abusing steroids.
Oh, it's definitely more common. Yeah. I'm
So
100%
that would be
on board with that.
You would fall into that.
Why you got to do that, Short? You know that's not true.
No, that's not true. It's it was called joke.
I can't wait to get on steroids. I'm going to come on this podcast and I'm going to be like, brother, guess
I'm
what?
on.
Happy. Yeah, it's going to be glorious.
Did my first injection.
It's going to be a great day. Yeah. I'm actually
Would you inject in your
excited.
glute or your shoulder?
Glute. I got more meat on my glute than these natty. Maybe once I'm on for a while and I have some real unnatural bowling ball delt. Yeah. There's just more meat in the glute. On the subject of curling too, there are so many variations of curls that I like and that feel good to me too. Like if I wanted to grow my arms and preacher curls were the only exercise to grow your arms, then yeah, I'd do it. And I would, I'd probably get more comfortable with that discomfort. But yeah, I feel like everyone has.
What are some of your favorite curl variations?
I like just a standing alternating dumbbell curl. I like a cable curl. I like changing the grip every so often, like an underhand versus an easy bar. Not because I think that you benefit from a muscle gain perspective from quote unquote hitting the muscle at a different angle, but rather the wear and tear on like everything, elbow, wrist, shoulder feels better if I'm making those slight variations. What other curls do I really like?
When you do cable curl, how do you do it?
So I will do a standing single arm cable curl with my back to the attachment, kind of like almost leaning slightly forward with a low attachment height. That gets a really nice like stretch and a lot of tension in the stretch position. I prefer just a facing the rack, underhand grip, standing cable curl. Yeah,
with a straight bar. I love that one. I like that one a lot.
I actually like that with a rope, little rope hammer. I like a seated dumbbell hammer. I think I like every variation other than the preacher curl machine, to be honest.
Are there any machines that you like?
For biceps?
For biceps directly? I know Planet Fitness has a unique bicep curl machine. Have you seen Planet Fitness's? Because I know you train there when you travel. Planet Fitness has a unique bicep curl machine.
I've only seen their preacher curl machine.
No, they have one. It's got this like stability pad directly behind the elbow and you're seated. It's one of the few bicep curl machines that I really did enjoy.
Oh, interesting. I had never seen this before.
Google it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it a lot.
Have you been battling in the DMs?
Bro, you have no idea.
I don't.
You have no idea the battles I've been through.
What percent? What you say?
Won.
and won. Yeah, I bet. All Middle East geopolitics.
Yeah, a lot of that. Also, a lot of that, but also a lot of like Elon stuff
stemming from or related to that.
So between Elon and Kanye, like I've gotten a lot of DMs and my first initial response to Elon, there were a handful of people who were like, they got so mad at me because I came out and I
think we talked about this on the podcast, but you're talking about when he said, "My heart goes out to you," and people said that he was a Nazi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's here's what I've noticed, because we did talk about it on the podcast. We won't belabor what we already discussed, but here's what I've noticed since I've been getting in these conversations with people. People are saying he's a Nazi. He's a Nazi. He's a Nazi. And I just gave counterpoints to it. And being like, well, if he's a Nazi, then he's literally the worst Nazi in the world, because not only been supporting Israel, but been actively supporting families of those who were killed on October 7th and families of hostages in Israel, been vocally asking for or demanding that the hostages be released, visiting Auschwitz. There was a hit piece about him, someone who was like, I was with Elon when he was in Auschwitz, and this is how he was acting, and he was very apathetic. And I've spoken to people who say that, and I was like, well, first and foremost, have you been? And literally none of them have been to Auschwitz. And I was like, okay, well, I was there. I was a tour guide there. And we all agree that there's not one right way to grieve. Number one, we all grieve in different ways. I was at Auschwitz. I saw some people crying. I saw some people really angry. I saw some people who looked bored. I saw some people who were laughing. Like, there's no one right way to grieve. So if you've never been there, number one, shut it. Number two is, not to mention, this guy has thousands and thousands and thousands of employees, one of the most highly sought after people in the world for many, many reasons. I have 6 employees or so. And I'm always putting out fires. I don't know how this guy's you have no idea what he's dealing with in any given moment. So, and of course, this hit piece came out right after this controversial thing. So it's like, I don't take that at face value. But here's what I've noticed. I've noticed that the people who are calling him a Nazi are now disassociating Nazi from Jew hating, which is an unbelievably dangerous thing to do. They are now saying, well, just because he's a Nazi doesn't mean he has to hate Jews.
What's a Nazi then?
What? Dude. And they're like, they say things like, Jews weren't the only ones who were killed in the Holocaust. I'm like, oh, I'm aware. Blacks were killed, gays were killed, mentally disabled were killed, but 6 million Jews were killed, and their stated goal, the final solution, was to end Jews. And what I'm seeing right now is a massive movement, or what appears to me to be a massive movement. Maybe it's not massive, but a movement that is infiltrating my DMs at the very least, of people who are separating Nazi from Jew hatred and are saying that it's not just about Jews. And I understand, white supremacy isn't just about Jews. I'm fully aware that white supremacy isn't just about Jews, but white supremacists also hate Jews. And there's this separation going on here that is clouding people, not even clouding, because clouding would require them to have a base understanding of the history to begin with. It's just manipulating them, and people are falling for propaganda. It's really unbelievable. So yeah, a lot of once Kanye came out and I spoke about the stuff he said, there were a lot of people who were like, but you defended Elon. And I was like, dear Lord, Kanye has come out and said he hates Jews. He loves Hitler's. Jews are greedy. Jews are this. Hitler had good ideas. Kanye is
selling the Nazi
a swastika shirt.
Shirt with nothing else on his website.
Yes, exactly. Whereas, so it's not even. It's not even close.
You talked about Kanye, and people were like, "Well, why don't you talk about Elon too?"
As people were like, it's disingenuous. Yes. As if they're even remotely the same. Yeah.
And when you get that reply to a story, for example, you're just like, okay, I'm going to crush you.
First, I look back at our previous messages and I see what else they've sent. And not one of them, literally not one of them, has ever replied to another story about October 7th, about hostages being taken, about nothing. The only thing that they've replied to is the Elon story and the Kanye story. That is it. Or other things completely irrelevant to him. And I always ask him, have you said anything post October 7th? Have you done anything? Have you all these people throwing up the Nazi salute, holding up the swastika symbol since the last year and a half? There's a massive rise in anti-Semitism. Have you said anything? Can you show me one post, one thing you've said? No, nothing. So why now? And what I've realized is it's about political ideology. It's generally people who don't like what they believe Elon stands for. So they hate it because Elon now is in a position of power and it goes against their political ideology. It's not because they actually hate what he's saying. They just hate what they've been told about Elon. And so since this goes against what they since Elon is against what they believe politically, anything they can do to bring Elon down, they'll do. It's not about caring about Jews. It's not about caring about marginalized people. It's Elon, and Elon stands against my political ideology. That's what it's about. Because if it was about the other stuff, then they would have stood up against it before.
Do you ever get the response in the DM and like feel that feeling of like, okay, I want to engage with this person. I want to win here. I maybe want to teach this person something if they're open to learning. I want to have a debate, and then like suppress that feeling and not respond?
Yeah, I did it the other day.
How did that feel?
Someone called me a genocide supporter, and I was just like, I'm not gonna.
You're like, I don't have the energy today.
Like, I don't have the energy. Like, my whole family is sick. I'm done. Yeah. So yeah, it happens. It's probably better for my blood pressure.
Definitely better for your blood pressure. I'm wondering how many people with a similar audience size are in their DMs grinding like that consistently.
Yeah, most people who, when I reply, they're like, I didn't expect you to reply to this. Like, well,
here I am
with the wrong guy.
Yeah. You're like, voice memo, it's actually me. Let's go.
The best is when these people who are like, they're like, oh, I know what's going on. I was like, I'm always the one question. I'm like, hey, what's your favorite book on this topic? On like the Middle East, or what's your favorite book? And they're like, why do you ask? I'm like, well, if you had a favorite book, you wouldn't have said, why do you ask? You would have just told me your favorite book.
Yeah.
It's all these people who claim to be experts on these issues they're just TikTok educated. It's really incredible.
All right, let's fire up some questions.
All right, Kevin Driscoll, who's in the mentorship.
Kevin.
He said, he goes, cereal first or milk first, which I feel like only psychopaths would put the milk in before they put the cereal in. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gone milk first. I've been cereal first my whole life.
KPD.fit, Kevin Driscoll.
He's a beast.
He's awesome.
That's a funny question. Yeah, I always put the cereal in, wanted to see how much cereal I was going to eat. All right, that looks about right. And then I put in the amount of milk that I want for that amount of cereal.
What's the best way to recover when you're really sore? Sauna, hot bath, heating pad, stretch, cold bath,
time,
etc.
Time.
Time. You want to expand on that? Or is that it? Just time?
It's the answer. So I might just leave it close to that. There isn't a recovery modality that's like easily accessible / non-drug based, like the ones that you just mentioned, that offer anything close in terms of amount and impact of recovery than more days off, relaxation, less total volume / intensity. That's how you recover. I mean, food, sleep, like all of the things that are boring are probably more effective than anything fancy.
Yep.
And I know you get some anti-inflammation from cold therapy, and if your goal isn't to maximize every drip of muscle you have on your body, but instead you're focused more on performance or even strength, like, yes, I can see argument being made for incorporating cold bath, but oftentimes the people who come to me asking for ways to optimize their recovery are sleeping 5 hours a night, are drinking a bunch of booze, aren't getting enough protein or total calories in, and want to do something fancy, like, whether it's hot, cold, or it's a shiny stretching routine, whatever it is.
I get a lot of questions from people who are asking about how do you eliminate soreness or mitigate it, or they're like so unbelievably sore. Dan John has a famous quote, and I'm going to butcher it. It's something to the effect of, soreness isn't an emergency. Like, it's normal. Like, it's normal to be sore. Generally, when you first start strength training, your soreness is going to be the worst. Like, I remember the first time I was sore, it was unbelievable. I literally thought there was something wrong. I thought I had to go to the doctor.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. That's so funny. the first time I deadlifted heavy, my back was really sore, and I thought that I was having kidney issues, and I was like, I think I'm gonna die. And I was interning at that gym that when I was like 14, 15, and I had deadlifted really heavy for the first time. And I was talking to the head coach, Kevin, and I was like, dude, I think I have to go to the doctor. He's like, what's wrong? I was like, I think I'm having kidney issues. He's like, you deadlifted yesterday, right? That was your first time? He's like, yeah, you're just sore. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And here's time is it for sure. The one thing, yes. I mean, listen, I love the sauna, so I'm biased on that.
And by the way,
but
I answered that more I wasn't hyper focused on just eliminating soreness. I was talking about recovery in general.
yeah.
But
I
the person
think
asked about soreness, so continue.
From a soreness perspective, my favorite thing outside of time, which is number one, and time isn't just time after strength training. It's also time just becoming more advanced. Like the more you do it, the less sore you'll get, and or the more comfortable you get with your soreness. But also movement. Like if I'm ever sore, I move. Like which is by like the first 5 minutes is tough. Like if my hamstrings or quads or whatever are really sore and I go on a walk, the first 5 minutes, maybe not even first minute, the first 60 seconds is really tough. But as soon as I heat up a little bit and my stride length will increase, it's like, great, I'm good to go. If it's my pecs or whatever, like I do some arm circles, I move around, like great, within a minute, it's immediately feeling better. Immediately. So if you need like a quick fix, it's not a supplement, it's not the sauna, it's definitely not the ice bath. Like I don't think the ice bath is good for that at all. I mean, granted, I don't have too much experience with the ice bath, but like
for reducing soreness,
I mean, maybe it does for some people, but like for me, it's like, okay, the ice bath is going to make you stiffen up, which is not what you need. You need to loosen up. Yeah. I hate the cold, dude. I absolutely hate the cold. So maybe that's just my bias. But like, if you might get numb from it, like from being in that cold, but generally you need to loosen up. So I would prefer heat over cold. I'm pretty sure the research agrees with that. And that's what movement does. Movement heats you up. Movement heats up your body. It gets the synovial fluids going. It lubricates the joints and it'll allow you to increase your range of motion. You don't want to decrease your range of motion when you're sore. You want to increase it. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, that's a great one that I didn't mention, which is light activity is great for recovery in general, as well as reducing soreness or getting less sore sooner. And yeah, man, I think everyone who is serious into lifting remembers their first like really bad case of DOMS on any particular body part. I'll never forget the first time I wrecked my hamstrings during a workout. Bicep DOMs were like, I basically had no elbow range of motion for multiple days. Pecs are one. I remember the first time my lats got super fried. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable, but then you're basically never going to be that sore again in your training career.
And enjoy it, because sometimes I miss it.
Yeah, it's like a badge of honor.
You have any thoughts on red light therapy?
I don't.
Yeah, me either. Here's what I do see. Actually, I do have some thoughts, and it's purely based off of a couple of horror stories I've seen. I see a lot of women using red light therapy, and I'm not saying men don't. I'm sure they do, but I mainly see women getting these masks that they buy and they put it over their face, like directly in front of their face. And I've seen numerous women on social media, influencers, have horrific experiences where like, I don't know what happened, like it must have broke, and their face looks like ground beef. It's just, it gets bad. They get like burnt or something. And I saw a woman in the grocery store yesterday who looked like it happened, and like, I don't know, but her entire face, and she had a line that looked like there was a mask all the way around her face that looked like the exact same thing. So I don't know if these are just like few and far between or what, but oh my goodness, like it's just be careful when you're putting these fucking lights centimeters away from your face.
Yeah, that's too bad. Hopefully that clears itself up.
Yeah, it does. I mean, they've all recovered, but it looks bad when it first happens. Would climbing stairs for, let's say, 20 minutes be good cardio? No treadmill here. 100%. I did this.
1,000%.
I did this so frequently when I was in hotels and the hotel gym was either really busy and or like all the cardio equipment was taken. Or if I wanted to take a phone call, I was doing cardio. I would go in the hotel emergency, like the stairwell, and I would just climb up and down the stairs for like an hour. Well, I did this a lot while I was coaching Gary. It's awesome.
I've never been more on board with an idea in my life. I had multiple years where I didn't take an elevator or an escalator. I was Snapchatting the whole thing too. Yeah.
You do the fake outs. You'd be like, I'm going, oh.
Always keep them guessing. Always keep them guessing. Yeah, it's great cardio. I mean, the Stairmaster is a gym example of it, but you don't need a Stairmaster when you have stairs. And even not just 20 straight minutes, but there's two things. There's the physical, non-exercise. I guess it would technically be, it wouldn't be NEAT, so it'd be exercise activity, but it wouldn't be like your formal workout calorie expenditure by, if you're staying on the 4th or 5th or 6th floor of a hotel, take the stairs every time instead of the elevator.
Yep.
You can do that. Anytime
you can do that.
Yeah. I feel like people don't realize that you can just go take the stairs. Everyone takes the elevator. Yep. That adds up in terms of step count and calorie expenditure over months and years. There's also the mental benefit of choosing the hard thing versus the easy thing and making a habit of doing that in this one small instance, which can bleed over into other areas of your life. So I think there's both a physiological and there are physiological and psychological benefits to consistently taking the stairs.
Completely agree. One thing, I love the Stairmaster. Like I really, I think it's a great piece of cardio equipment, and I wanted to buy one, but number one, they're really expensive. Stairmasters are super expensive. They're also really big and bulky, and they take up a lot of space. And so what I've been doing on my treadmill recently is I just put it on like a 15 incline, and it's like a 2.5 mile per hour. Like it's pretty slow, but like it's essentially, I actually like it better than the Stairmaster. Because you still get that like real steep incline. You're still climbing. But on the Stairmaster, dude, the lip of my shoe gets caught once every, 50 to 100 steps. I fucking trip. But I don't do that on the treadmill because there's no lip. So actually I do enjoy that better. So if anyone's looking for a great zone 2 cardio, just slow, relatively. It's not fast. It's not like it's really nice. It's slower like the Stairmaster, and you still get that nice climb. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's slower, but you get your heart rate up.
I also use the weighted vest. Dude, the incline walk is just. I also use a weighted vest, and I put a barbell on my back, and I hold dumbbells in my hands.
And ankle weights. Jordan's a big ankle weight guy.
And I put the booty band around my knees while I do it as well.
Oh, nice. Glute gains. No, I really like incline walking for that purpose. And I think you were kidding about everything except the weighted vest is what I took from that.
I do do the weighted vest. It's just the easiest. It's very easy. It's good for bone density. It's a quick, easy way, and like it doesn't take away from the workout; it only adds to it. It's also nice because I don't like going fast, and putting on the weighted vest allows me to go a little bit slower and still get my heart rate up. So
it's the same thing that doing it at incline 15 versus incline 6 does. You can go slower and get the same, get your heart rate in the same range at a lower speed.
Why do I want something sweet after a meal? Is it habit or an actual biological reason?
I don't know of a biological reason why you would want something sweet after a meal. Do you know of a biological reason?
I can postulate, but I don't know. I can be like, I can't prove this, but no, I don't know.
I also have that urge. I imagine it's habit-based, / potentially just pleasure seeking, right? something sweet is enjoyable for many people. For other people, they prefer to go something higher fat, higher salt. But I would imagine it's more habit than biology.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's probably more like, if we have to look at the ratio, it's probably more habit than biology. I do think there's something to be said for the habit is solidified even more because of our biology, where it's like generally the sweeter foods tend to be more calorically dense. And so like seeking out these sweet, pleasurable foods from a adaptation perspective would make sense for us, like so that we can have enough calories and da 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 da. Not to mention the biological
evolutionary
yeah,
biology.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
It would just make sense seeking out these more sweet foods. Period. Never mind after a meal, but in general. But I think specifically after a meal, that's probably habit based. If it's just specifically after a meal, and that's a habit that you've built, then yeah, that like you're done with this one thing. So what do you do after this? Well, after this, I have something sweet. It's like that's the habit. That's the habit loop you've built,
and it's been ingrained in it. Like, can I eat this Oreo? Not until after you finish your dinner. It's like after you eat your healthy food, you get your treat. Is a cultural thing that reinforces that habit in future generations.
Yep. There's also, I was discussing this on my story the other day. There's also this, the idea of having like a second stomach. It's like you eat one thing and you're full from your dinner. Oh, but I could have dessert. It's like you're not actually hungry, but you would be hungry enough to have something different. And so the food industry term for this is called sensory specific satiety, which is where this is why eating at a buffet, you can eat like 10 times more calories so quickly, because there are so many different foods, so many different sensory inputs that you're having. And the food industry has gotten very good at being able to make foods have different sensory outputs or inputs, however you want to look at it, as you're eating it. So even like if you take a Snickers bar, for example, if you Google search the inside of a Snickers bar, you're going to see like there's a chocolate layer, and then there's a crunchy layer, and then there's like a creamy layer, and then there's a crispy layer, and not only different tastes, but different textures. And so as you're eating it, you get these different sensory inputs, which allow you to continue to be hungrier and hungrier for that one specific thing. But even if we're not talking about something that's super highly processed, you can create hunger for a different taste. It's also, you could call it flavor fatigue, where when you've had enough of one thing, it's like, I'm full, I don't want that anymore. But if you add a different flavor into the mix, now all of a sudden, no, I could eat more of it, which is important to be aware of, because it's like, are you actually hungry, or are you just craving a new flavor? And now you've created the idea that you're hungry enough for that, which again, I think there's biology, there's obviously how we're made, but it's a habit that you've built that you can then decide, okay, do I want to indulge in this habit or not? And it's not saying one is right or wrong, but you get to decide.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I find it fascinating. And how many billions of dollars were spent by these companies to manufacture foods to be as hyper palatable and even different from one another, to, at the end of the day, create more sales, right? Create more calories consumed. Like, the fact that is it all driven? At least majorly, if not completely driven by capitalism and a desire
100%.
To maximize profits, is pretty interesting.
If you get a whole family-sized bag of chips and you take a week to eat that bag of chips versus you eat it all in one sitting, and then you have to go out and buy another bag. That's what they want. They want you to eat the entire thing in one sitting, so then you go buy more. It's like it exponentially increases their profit.
I don't know this to be a 100% fact, but I headline read it, probably on Twitter, and I'm 80% sure it's true. Let me know if you've heard this, that companies are running these experiments and research trying to manufacture foods that work around GLP-1s so that people who are on
Stop.
GLP-1s will still overconsume certain
Shut
things.
the fuck up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's true, but I'll tell you I believe it because GLP-1s are hurting their bottom line big time.
Mm-hmm.
They're scared of GLP-1s.
So from like a free market economy perspective, it makes sense. Like, okay, people who are taking these compounds are eating less of our stuff. Let's change our stuff so that our old customer base consumes more of it like they used to. But
I just had a crazy conspiracy theory pop up in my head.
Let's hear it.
That the people who are driving the negative stories about GLP-1s, about like the horror stories, are driven by these multi-billion, multi-trillion dollar companies who are going to be losing money if more people are on GLP-1. So they're like, let's fucking say these absolute horror stories about them so that people don't go on them.
There's probably some of that. And probably some legitimate concern and criticism as well.
Yeah, of course. Like with any medication, there's always a risk, but
yeah,
that's crazy. I believe it. I very much believe that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Have you ever had popcorners? Those chips?
Yeah. Yes. I'm not a fan. I don't like the texture.
You don't like these things?
No.
They're super good.
You're like, well, you're wrong. You don't like them? You're wrong because your
opinion is wrong, bro. your palate is wrong. No, they're really good, and I made a whole video on it the other night. I ate an entire bag. Like easy,
brother, I ate an entire bag of Sun Chips the other day.
Oh, Sun Chips as well, dude.
Yeah, Sun Chips are good. These are a little too airy for me.
Yeah, that's deliberate. That's also why they make them crunchy. But yeah, you could just eat nonstop. You could just eat them nonstop. But the Sun Chip is right. They're more dense. The Sun Chip is a little bit more dense, which I do like that Sun Chip. The Sun Chip is good.
You know what texture chip is really good that I like a lot? And it's probably because there's like 18% of your daily sodium in them is Quest
Fritos?
chips. No, the Quest protein chips. The sour cream and onion.
Those are really good.
And the ranch.
Yeah. Those are dangerous because they have this massive health halo. You're like, oh, it's protein chips. It's good. But you could eat 5 bags easy. The cheddar ones are my like, I'll destroy those.
Yeah.
The cheddar ones are so good. Yeah.
Yeah, we do have different flavor profiles.
You don't like the cheddar?
Yeah. Not compared to sour cream and onion and ranch. They made a buffalo one that is atrocious.
Oh, is it? But yeah, that's probably a tough one to make. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's it's called vanishing caloric density, where it's like they will deliberately make foods that you can just eat a lot of that they're so light, they're so airy, they dissolve in your mouth, where it's like these calories, they don't fill you up. And you can just keep eating more and more and more and more and more. And whether it's Sun Chips or Quest protein chips, or like you don't get full from Quest protein chips, even though they're higher in protein. You don't get full from those. You can just keep eating them. Same thing with the popcorners are the craziest. It's unbelievable.
You know where I think they hit the spot for me is if I'm sodium deficient in a day. If I'm actually craving salt, but I think I'm craving a snack, and I might have gone to something like like a Sun Chip, for example, or even like salted almonds or something to that effect. And the Quest chips are giving me 130 calories, but a ton of sodium. So it satiates that need, but not like from a satiety perspective. Yeah. And I don't mind the texture of the popcorners. The more I think about it, I think it's the flavor that I don't like.
Well, which flavor did you have?
I've definitely had the blue and the red bag.
Okay. We'll try some different bags out while you're here if you want.
Popcorners. Kind of snacks.
Popcorners. We'll do a taste test review. Do you like Cape Cod chips?
Not my favorite. I'm old school.
Dude,
I was born in 1987. I like Pringles, which probably aren't even a chip. Doritos. I could eat a whole bag of Cool Ranch Doritos.
I knew you were going to say Cool Ranch. Yeah.
I mean, what that purple bag that is more recent, that's a phenomenon of the 2000s. Chili something.
I
Those
never
are
had
pretty
that
good.
one.
The nacho cheese.
I just like the original nacho cheese Dorito.
Is it the original? I feel like Cool Ranch is the original.
Whatever the original is what I like.
Toasted corn was their first. Oh, 1966. What?
Oh, no, not that one. Never mind. I didn't try that one, but I bet it's good.
Jordan and I just talking about snacks.
I bet people are just hungry now, just listening to us talk. I bet they're hungry. Isn't that crazy? You just hear about these foods and you're just like, yeah, I'm hungry now.
Don't eat them. We're sorry that we did this to you. This negative marketing. Should we do one more? I feel like we're in a pretty good spot with this episode.
Which sport, this is interesting. Which sport do you consider to be the healthiest for overall health, muscle, cardiac, mobility, etc.?
Healthiest. Should we put longevity in there as well?
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
Because then injury risk is a factor in health.
Yeah.
Which takes American football off the table.
I mean, that's not even close to a healthy sport.
Healthiest.
American football would be like top 5 most unhealthy sports.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be reaching
the obesity,
here.
Like the that sport is so unhealthy. It's not even funny.
These have to be real sports. We can't go grasping at like random games that we're calling sports. We're talking like real sports.
Yeah. Like, so my mind goes to, and this, I wouldn't call this a real sport because there are competitions for it. I don't actually, you know what? Here's what my mind first goes to. Sorry for the stuttering. I think my cold is just destroying me, or I'm having a stroke. My mind goes to rucking.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that a sport.
Okay, so even if there are competitions for it, we're not going to call that a sport. It's not a mainstream sport, that's for sure. But that would be in my mind like the healthiest or among the healthiest. But we're not going to include that because for the context of this discussion, we're not calling that a sport. We're talking about mainstream sports.
We're talking real sports. And I don't think anyone who rucks is offended by that.
I think you'd be surprised. Okay.
I think you haven't posted on the internet in too long, Michael.
Yes.
Not baseball.
Okay.
Just not enough activity.
Not even they're fucking chewing tobacco.
This is deductive reasoning.
No, man.
When you throw injury,
and a real sport doesn't have to be a team sport, by the way. Like I know that you go that route.
I'm well aware.
Okay.
I'm well aware.
Okay. Hockey is off the list only because like it's just so dangerous. But like
hockey's not off the list yet because we're almost going elimination in order, right? Like hockey is healthier than basketball.
Hockey is healthier than basketball.
I don't think.
My only concern is the risk of injury and like serious injury. Like I don't know if anyone's died playing basketball, but people have died playing hockey.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about longevity.
Yeah, but you have to think about how many people play in a whoa, we're both stuttering. How many people have played in a hockey game per year, and then how many people die per year in a hockey game? Right?
I don't know. But it's more people have died playing hockey than basketball for sure.
No, see, you just that's not relevant. If 2 people have died playing hockey in the last 10 years, but there have been like, I don't know, 700 million hours of people playing hockey, and it's definitely more than that. There have been like, I don't know, 20 billion hours of people playing hockey. It's a drop in the bucket.
How many hours of playing basketball?
Yeah, but
I'm just saying people have died playing hockey. No one's died playing basketball.
I'm sure people have died playing basketball. Cardiac arrest?
Yeah, that's true, but not from a fucking skate.
No, see, you have one. we need to understand big data and realize that just you're thinking, what's that book that you like? Peak experiences that really stand out in your mind. This is like the inverse of that. You're thinking of one really like
one horrific incident,
a video you saw that was absolutely awful, but that's not the norm. So when I think of health, I'm also thinking which cardio systems are involved, what level of strength is required to be playing.
Yep.
How long you can play it is interesting.
That's a great one. That's a great point.
So that would open us up to things like tennis and even potentially golf to be on a list.
Yep.
The training for the sport, right? Are we just talking about playing the game, or are we talking about, what?
No, training too.
Okay, training too.
Yeah, tennis is a great one.
You kind of got soccer's injury risk, especially as you get older, is up there.
Yeah, soccer
not because
super
of
high injury
contact,
risk.
but
ACL,
pulls and
MCL,
tweaks.
yeah. High impact, really high impact.
Yeah.
Concern with hockey is like a lot of the hip and ankle issues as well for removing death from it. Just like the
hockey
skates.
players are so tough that
they are.
That those issues aren't. Did you see the USA versus Canada, by the way? 2 days ago?
That was insane. It was unbelievable.
I told you about it.
It was like one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. And one of the best reactions was the refs as they were like, oh my gosh, the refs were losing it. They're like, that was amazing. And because they were mic'd up and hearing them talk about it was so funny.
I missed that. I'm actually going to watch that. Swimming is on a list here.
Oh yeah. Swimming. Oh my gosh. That might have to.
You can do it forever.
That might have to be it.
Yeah.
It might have to be swimming.
Insane zone 2 cardio.
And you do strength train for it. And swimming might literally have to take the cake on that. I was going to go with tennis. But I think that, get the injury risk. Injury risk of swimming is so low. The death risk, though.
I think it's hard to put, I don't think you can put running at the death risk was drowning.
Probably a lot of people have died.
About that, but I don't think so. Not an organized
Not recreationally swimming. Yeah.
No, not even the higher level you get. In other sports, the higher level you get, you still have the same risk or even a greater risk of an ACL, for example. Whereas swimming,
no.
Once you get good, drowning risk.
Yeah.
Approaches limit 0.
Dude, it might be swimming. I think that's probably it. I don't even know. I don't think I would have thought about that.
We'll give swimming the tentative crown right now. Great episode. Weekly uploads every Tuesday. Appreciate you listening. Jordan, you got anything for the people?
That's it. We appreciate you. Please leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify, wherever you're listening. Everyone in the mentorship, we love you. We appreciate you. We're going to hop on a mentorship Q&A right now, which we do every single week.
We got some good questions.
Let's go.
See you next week.
See ya.